This is part 3 of common checkmate patterns. It will be covering another 9 checkmate patterns. If you have missed part 1 and 2, then I am giving you the link in the comments. Please view them. There will be one more part. This is third part of the common checkmate patterns, and we discuss here first the hook mate. The hook mate is very useful and instructive checkmate pattern that demonstrates optimal coordination between a rook and knight. The pattern is named after its visual appearance that resemble a hook. Let's see first a simple example. This is the position. Now white is to play, just if the rook goes here, then it is a checkmate by rook and knight. Of course the knight is supported by pawn, otherwise the king will take the knight. Let's see one more example from our actual game. This was a position. Now think of what white can play here. White played knight to g6. Now anywhere the king goes, either to f7 or to h7, it is a checkmate. King goes to f7 and rook to f8 and checkmate. Kilbot mate occurs when a queen and rook work together to checkmate the enemy king in a box. Let's see a simple example. This is the position. Queen and rook are there. Just move the rook to d8 and it is checkmate. Let's see one more example. This is a position in the game. White used to play. Now white plays queen to c6 and check. Queen to c6 and check. King goes to a7 and then rook cross a8 and checkmate with queen and rook. So this is pillbox mate. Lawnmower mate or ladder mate is a checkmate pattern given with two major pieces. There can be two queens, two rooks, or one rook and one queen. Let's see an example. Simple. King is there. Now just rook moves to a8 and checkmate. Both the rooks are occupying both the ranks 7 and 8. Let's see next example from an actual game of Mikhail Tal actually. Now white is to play. Plays queen to g7, check. King goes to e8, queen to d7, check. King goes to f8 and rook to h8, threatening to ranks 7 and 8 with queen and rook. So this is ladder mate. Legal mate, the legal trap or Blackburn trap, also known as legal pseudo sacrifice or legal mate, is a chess opening trap characterized by queen sacrifice followed by checkmate involving three minor pieces. If black accepts the sacrifice. You see how the legal trap is achieved. E4, E5, knight F3, D6, bishop to C4, bishop to G4. It pins the knight here. Quite common move. He plays knight to C3, plays G6. Now is a dashing move of the legal trap. Plays knight cross E5, allows the queen to be taken, sacrificing the queen. But if black takes the queen, say bishop cross D1, then bishop cross F7 and check. King has to move to E7, and then knight goes to D5 and checkmate. You have to be very careful. If he has taken the pawn here, up here, then you cannot have this legal mate. Then you lose the queen. So this is how this legal trap is achieved. Lowly's mate is a common checkmate pattern performed by the cooperation between a queen and pawn, typically against a castle king. Let's see an example. This is the position. Now white is to play. White plays F6. So threatening this pawn. If queen takes the pawn, and then it's checkmate. And pawn cannot take this pawn because this pawn on G7 is pinned. So only alternative left with black is to move the pawn to G6. White plays queen to G6, queen to H6. Then any move now black plays, it's a checkmate, because if he plays rook to E8, then queen to G7, and this is Lowly's mate. Let's take another example which is from actual game. This is from actual game. Now this is the position. Observe the position first. Now white is to play. White plays rook cross H7 check. Queen cross H7. Then again he plays rook cross H7 check. King goes to G8. Then rook to H8 and check. King cross H8. Queen to H6 and check. King to G8 and queen to G7, and this is Lowly's pattern. You can try another move also, it will be checkmate. Max Alliance mate demonstrates great coordination between a queen and bishop. Let's see some examples. Very simple example is the bishop, white bishop is on F7, queen on D8. Just queen moves to G8 and it's checkmate. Also one example from actual game. See, black has two queens here, but unfortunately white is to play, and think of what white can play. So white plays queen to G8 and check, supported by the bishop here. King goes to G6. So queen E8 and check. King goes to H7. Bishop to G8 and check. King goes to H8. Bishop F7 and check by the queen. King goes to H7 and queen to G8 and checkmate. So this is Max Alliance mate with queen and bishop. Mates mate occurs when a rook is placed right next to the enemy king, whilst the rook is supported by distant bishop. The king is further obstructed by his own pieces. So very simple example here. White is to play. Now just white moves the rook to d8 and it is checkmate. King is obstructed by the pawns. Rook is supported by the bishop. Let's see next example from the actual game. This was the position. Now again white is to play. White plays bishop to f6, check. Now if queen takes this, then it will be checkmate. Two options are there: take this bishop with the queen or move the king to g8. If he takes the queen, supposing queen cross f6, then rook cross h5. Only the queen, two files are controlled by rook and queen. So queen can go in between and rook cross h6 will be made. Next, supposing king moves to g8, rook cross h5. Now he cannot take the rook because the black queen is pinned. So he takes the queen instead, and then rook to h8 and checkmate. The king is obstructed by his two rooks, and checkmate with bishop and rook. This is my mate. Morphy's mate. He is named after the legendary American chess player Paul Morphy. The checkmate is executed by a bishop and rook. First I have a very simple example. This is a position. Now this rook just goes to, so bishop goes to d4 and it's a checkmate. King cannot move, check is there. Next we will have a example from a game, very brilliantly played. This is a position. Now white plays, say, queen to f6. Now there is a threat to this g7 pawn, and if queen takes g7, then it is a checkmate. So there is no alternative than to take the queen, g cross f6. Now rook goes to g4 and gives a check. Nothing can come in between, so king moves to h8 and then bishop cross f6 and checkmate. This is Morphy's mate. Pillsbury's mate occurs when a bishop controls the corner square next to a castle king, whilst a rook delivers the mate. For this to happen, the pawn shield in front of the king must be compromised and black's rook must still be next to the king. Let's see in simple example. This is the position here. Bishop is controlling this diagonal a1 to h8. Now just you put the rook on the g1 and it is checkmate with rook and bishop. Let's take another example. This is a position from actual game. Black is to play, so black plays rook cross g2. King cannot capture the rook because bishop is there, so king moves to h1. Rook goes to g1, check, double check is there with the bishop and with the rook. King captures the rook, king cross g1. Now rook to g8 and check. Now king cannot move anywhere. Only thing he can do is You can put the queen in between g6, which is captured by the rook. You can put the bishop in between, which is captured by the rook, and checkmate. So this is Pillsbury's mate.